How many Americans are aware of George Soros? An evil man. Soros is a billionaire who made most of his money manipulating currencies and almost bankrupting many countries. He supports hate groups who are responsible for taking down our cities. And he is a close friend of Hillary Clinton and a major supporter of her campaign.
As Mr. Voigt correctly points out, George Soros has funded the terrorist organization Black Lives Matter that has done so much to damage not only the cities of America, but even worse, strained to the breaking point the relations between different Americans. Soros is a man that has funded revolutions, instigated civil wars, and has made his money via currency manipulation. He is a close confidant of both Bill and Hillary Clinton, and has shown through leaked emails to be directing the attention of the former Secretary of State in issues of geopolitical importance. When the president of Hungary, Viktor Orbán, hears Bill and Hillary Clinton speak, he hears the words of what he calls their puppet master, George Soros. His enormous donations to the American ruling class, or more specifically the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton in particular, have earned him a seat in the shadow government, pulling the puppet strings behind the scenes. In fact, his tentacles can be found from Washington to Berlin. For a more comprehensive video on George Soros himself, please see this video. But suffice it to say that he, through his nefarious Open Societies Foundation, which has been banned in Russia, among other places, is openly known for its efforts at destabilization in countries around the world. So I'd like you to meet the vice chairman of George Soros's Open Societies Foundation, Lord Mark Moloch Brown. Moloch really sounds a lot like another Moloch, the corrupter I know. But then again, why am I not surprised? Lord Moloch Brown has also been closely associated with billionaire speculator George Soros for decades, even renting an apartment from him while living in New York for a time. Lord Moloch Brown is a British citizen and has experience working in international organizations, including the World Bank and the UN, where he became embroiled in the infamous Oil for Food scandal, where he defended the program worth $320 million of its $1.3 billion budget could not be accounted for. He received his peerage in 2007, and this enabled him to sit in the House of Lords, as well as an appointment to the Privy Council. In 2007, he was also named Vice President of Soros Quantum Fund, was named Vice Chairman of Soros Fund Management, and the Open Society Foundation. But here's where things become interesting. Moloch Brown is also on the board of directors of Smartmatic. Smartmatic is an electronic voting systems corporation responsible for all vote counting in 16 states, including 6 highly contested swing states: Florida, Colorado, Wisconsin, Nevada, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Smartmatic presents itself as a company incorporated in the US and having its head office in London. However, according to leaks disseminated by WikiLeaks, going all the way back to 2006, its true owners remain hidden behind a web of holding companies in the Netherlands and Barbados. Its startup is equally shrouded in apparent corruption via the Venezuelan state. And the Smartmatic machines that have been used in Venezuela are widely suspected of, though, to be fair, never proven conclusively to be susceptible to fraud. Its machines have overseen several landslide and contested victories by the former President Hugo Chavez and his supporters. After a referendum, independent election monitors claimed fraud and submitted appeals and statistical evaluations, including a peer-reviewed article in 2006 and a special Section 6 peer-reviewed article in 2011, concluded that it was likely that electronic election fraud had been committed. The analysis of communication patterns allowed for the hypothesis that the data in the machines could have been changed remotely, while another of the articles suggested that the outcome could have been altered from about 60% against the sitting president to 58% for the sitting president. But to be fair, representatives from international election observation agencies attested that the election conducted using the machines was at the time fair. In Europe, Smartmatic is a bad word, and in the United States, the company was blacklisted in Chicago after a municipal primary election fiasco in 2006, where its voting machines were blamed for a series of delays and irregularities. Smartmatic has won over $300 million worth of contracts since 2004, mainly from unaccountable governments of undeveloped countries, where democratic tenets such as free and fair elections, transparency, and checks and balances are completely and utterly disregarded. Looking at the US, they have even recently bragged on their Twitter of President Barack Obama voting for Hillary Clinton on one of their machines. So what we have here is a voting machine company with murky ownership, a very spotty and convoluted history full of accusations of voting irregularities, and this company's chairman is the same man that co-chairs George Soros' Open Society Foundation, Lord Moloch Brown. And George Soros is also one of the largest campaign contributors for the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton in particular. WikiLeaks has shown how Hillary Clinton manipulated via her surrogate Debbie Wasserman Schultz and then by extension Tim Kaine to rig the Democratic primaries before they even began. She was able to get the Democratic nomination for the President of the United States by subverting the democratic process within the Democratic Party itself. That's a mouthful of democracy. We know that Hillary and her minions, through treachery, deceit, and outright lies, have already rigged one election in her favor. All eyes should be on these 16 states, with the 6 swing states in particular. Again, Florida, Colorado, Wisconsin, Nevada, Virginia, Pennsylvania. Lord Moloch Brown and George Soros could in fact, using techniques already tried and tested by Hillary Clinton in the primaries, and found in banana republics around the world, reduce the U.S. to the state of a banana republic. But then again, it was already going down that road when voter ID laws were instituted. Or, more to the fact, the need not to have an ID to vote. I'm not saying widespread voter fraud via private companies' electronic voting machines that are tied to George Soros and then by extension to the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton will happen. I'm saying it could very likely happen. Hillary Clinton has shown herself to not only be treacherously dishonest, but will do anything, including rigging elections, to win. And her benefactor, George Soros, through his surrogates, will be the one counting the vote in November in key swing states. Remember, it's not the people who vote that count. It's the people who count the votes. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and see our new website. I'd also like to point you in the direction of the channel That Right Wing Ranger. He's a young man with great material and could use your support.